Hello, still we're talking about quadratic functions or nonlinear equations. Okay, let's say that you have wait a minute. Okay, so if you have a graph of equation y equals to x squared, it will be this shape. This shape is called a parabola. It's a U-shaped. So this graph is a graph for y equals to what? X squared. The intercept is here 0, 0. So from 0 to positive infinity the graph is increasing, and from negative infinity to 0 the graph is decreasing. Okay, let's have more information on this type of graphs. Okay, so what are these 2 points A and B? These are called the x-intercepts, and they are actually the solutions for this quadratic equation. And here you have the x-intercept is just one number, that means the solution here is just one. But here you have something which is called the y-intercept. Y-intercept, actually even here you have a y-intercept. Okay, in this equation you have just a y-intercept, but you have no x-intercept. So these are different types of graphs. Okay, in this type of graphs, f of x equals to negative x squared. So once you have this negative, the graph will be an inverted U shape, or it's like a sad face. It's like a sad face. So here same thing, but the x-intercepts are a and b. Here you have, this is the y-intercept. Here you have the same thing, just one x-intercept, and here you have your y-intercept, and it's also of course a negative slope. That means x squared have a negative coefficient, and here you have the same thing. There is no x-intercept, but here you have a y-intercept. Okay, once we do examples, you'll understand the idea more. It will be clear, I hope. Okay, so here you have 3 steps that you have to follow in determining how to sketch this type of graphs. The first step is saying determine the basic shape. The graph has a U shape if a is greater than 0, and it will have an inverted if a is less than 0. That means I'm talking about a x squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. I'm talking about this general form. So on this general form, if a is positive, it will be a normal parabola, U-shaped, and if a is negative here, it will be like a sad face or an inverted U-shape. Okay, let's talk about the second step. Determine the y-intercept. This is obtained by substituting x equals to 0 gives y equals to c. So the y-intercept is always this c, the constant number, because if you put instead of this x 0, everything will be gone and you'll be left only with this constant number, which is the c. So always the y-intercept is this constant number. It's the y-intercept. Okay, let's see the third step. Determine the x-intercepts, if any. These are obtained by solving the quadratic equation. Yes. So as I told you, once you have ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, once you find the 2 solutions here, so x will be blah blah. These 2 solutions or one solution will be the x-intercept, and sometimes there is no even x-intercept, the way you saw it on the graphs before. So this 3-step strategy is illustrated in the following example. I'll give you an example. Okay, let's say you have this question where it's saying minus x squared plus 8x minus 12 equals to 0. So step number 1 will be, you'll determine if it is a positive or a negative slope. Here you have negative, so it will be an inverted U shape. Second step, talking about the y-intercept. What's the y-intercept here? I told you that it will be the constant number, which is negative 12. This is the y-intercept. This is the slope. And the third step will be solving this one to find the solutions or the roots. So I will use the quadratic formula. Of course, here you have a coefficient of -1, so this would be a, the 8 would be b, and c will be -12. I hope now you're already familiar with this formula. You'll start with minus b, which is -8, plus or minus b squared, which is 8 squared, minus 4 times -1 times -12 over 2 times -1. X equals to, I'll change this. X equals to -8 plus or minus 64. 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 12 is 48. Of course, you'll have minus will be plus. These two, if they are cancelled, you'll be left with 1 minus, so it will be negative. So here 2 times -1 will give you -2. -8 plus or minus, how much is 64 minus 48? 16 over -2. Root of 16 is 4. So now I'll have two cases. The first case is when it's plus, and the second one will be when it's minus. So -8 plus 4 is -4. -4 divided by -2 will be +2. -8 minus 4 is -12. -12 divided by -2 is +6. So the two answers are 2 and 6. Okay, now I'll start to show you how I can sketch the graph. Let's say that I'll sketch it. We know that it is a sad face, like inverted U. We know that the y-intercept is -12, and we know that the x-intercepts are 2 and 6. Let's say you have 2 here and you have 6 here. Good. So we all know that the graph will be something like this, or maybe something like this, maybe something like this. So here I'll call this one 1, and this 2, and this 3. So how can you decide what would be the height of this graph? Can I make it even taller? So graphs cannot be drawn in this way. It cannot be random. So I'll tell you to do one thing here. Take the two solutions, which is 2 and 6, and add them, then divide them by 2. That means 2 plus 6 divided by 2. 2 plus 6 is 8. 8 divided by 2 will give you 4. So this 4, I'll erase this one. So this 4 is showing me the midpoint here between 2 and 6. And to know the height, take this 4 and plug it in the original question. What was my original question? It was -x squared plus 8x minus 12. So it will be -4 squared plus 8 times 4 minus 12. This will be 16 plus 8 times 4 is 32 minus 12. Of course, here you have a minus. So minus 16 plus 32 will give you 16. I took just this minus. So minus 16 plus 32 is 16. 16 minus 12 will give you 4. So this maximum point will be here, be 4. So the graph is going to touch these points. So I hope you understood me. I'll revise the last step that I did. Once you find the solutions, you know how to find the solutions, use the quadratic formula. Once you find them, add the two solutions and divide it by 2. You'll find the mid number, this mid point. Then take this number and plug it in the original equation, which is minus x squared plus 8x minus 12. You'll find a number, and that number will be the maximum point for the graph. This will be the maximum point. And by the way, if you have this type of graph, of course this point is going to be the maximum, and if you have this type of graph, this point will be the minimum. Now I'll show you how the graph is drawn in a very accurate way. This is the graph. You can see here that this is negative 12, which is the y-intercept, and here you have 2 and 6, and those are the two solutions, and 4 is the middle or the midpoint between 2 and 6, and the maximum point is here for us. We found it, and this is the graph for y equals to x minus x squared plus 8x minus 12. Okay, I'll give you some functions that I want you to sketch it by yourself. Y equals to sorry, these are not the right questions. Okay, I'll give you the questions in the next video. So it's enough for now.